You know, when you hear the words industrial revolution, what pops into your head? Probably steam engines, right? Towering factories, the birth of our modern world, this whole idea of progress. But that's not the whole picture, not even close. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that familiar story to uncover the dark psychological price people paid for all of it.
Okay, I want you to do something for me. Just for a second, really put yourself there. You're on your hands and knees. It is pitch black. I mean, you can't see a thing. The air is so thick with coal dust you can almost taste it. And the only sound is your own ragged breathing and the awful scraping sound of a heavy cart that you are pulling. Every single muscle is on fire, and you are just covered in filth.
So why are you there? You must be some kind of criminal serving a hard sentence, right? Nope. You're a 17-year-old girl. And this horrifying scene, this isn't a bad dream. In the 1800s, for way too many people, this was just a Tuesday.
So you gotta ask yourself, how on earth did this become normal? How does society get to a place where that was an acceptable reality? Well, it all started with what seemed like a totally brilliant logical solution to a huge growing problem.
See, before the whole factory age, life had a completely different rhythm. Most people worked from home, crafting things by hand. Your schedule was basically dictated by the sun and the seasons. But then, boom, populations grew, and everybody wanted more stuff, more goods. And that cozy little work-from-home system, it just couldn't keep up, not by a long shot.
So the big answer was the factory system. And look, on paper, this idea was a game changer. It was super simple, really efficient. Just bring all the workers and all the powerful new machines together into one giant building. And it worked. Production absolutely soared, problem solved, right?
Well, this comparison shows a profound psychological shift. Humanity's entire rhythm of life changed. We went from a life guided by nature, which you see there on the left, to one that was literally chained to the relentless, pounding pace of a machine. This wasn't just a new way to work, it was a psychological trap.
Now, to make this new system run at peak efficiency, a new philosophy was needed. And this philosophy, borrowed straight from the world of mechanics, would become the very tool used to systematically break down the human spirit.
First, let's just make sure we get the core concept here: interchangeable parts. In engineering, it's actually genius. The idea is if you have identical, standard components, you can assemble things way faster, and if one part breaks, no big deal. You just swap in a new one. Simple, clean, efficient.
But here is the chilling part. This incredibly effective idea for mass-producing things like rifles and clocks, well, it didn't stay confined to nuts and bolts. The factory owners started applying this exact same logic to their human workers.
And this is exactly how they did it. This is how the psychology of the worker was shattered. You take a complex craft, something that takes real skill, pride, and years to master, then you just dissect it. You break it down into a series of tiny, simple, mindless steps, and then you assign one person to do just one of those steps all day, every day. The skilled artisan was dead, replaced by a human machine.
The goal was clear: mass production, turning out huge quantities of identical goods to meet this incredible demand. But when we look at this system, we have to ask a different kind of question. What was the true product being mass-produced on these assembly lines?
The answer is pretty unsettling. Because alongside all the textiles, the tools, and the engines, the factories of the Industrial Revolution got really, really good at perfecting the mass production of something else entirely.
And this is the core of it. The system was so brutally effective at dehumanization that the workers themselves became the product. They were no longer seen as people, but as components in the great machine. And if you're just a component, your individuality is worthless. Your unique skills, your thoughts, your hopes, your pain, none of it mattered to the bottom line. You were just a cog, and cogs don't have an inner life.
So this brings us to the inevitable, brutal conclusion. What happens when a mechanical part breaks? You replace it. That exact logic was applied to people. If a worker was horribly injured by a machine or collapsed from exhaustion after a 16-hour shift, they were simply discarded and swapped out for the next desperate person waiting at the factory gates. This brutal philosophy didn't just define an era. It laid the very foundation for the world we are all living in today. We are still dealing with the consequences of the world this machine built.
There's just no denying it. The machines of this revolution built our modern lives. The technology, the wealth, the global economy, it all has its roots right here.
But we can't ever forget what fueled this transformation: the physical suffering and the psychological destruction of millions of people. And that leaves us with one final, sobering thought to really think about. We celebrate everything this era built, but maybe we should spend more time thinking about what it broke. The machines built our world, yes, but what did they break inside of us?